Hi, and welcome to DIY Coyote, where today we're going to be talking about my new favorite thing, one of my new favorite things, the Soundcore Space q45 noise canceling headphones. Playtime extended, and they're not kidding. You notice there's a couple little high-res logos at the bottom of the box here. High-res Bluetooth, adaptive noise canceling, and these beauties have this nice little case, which is a plastic, I assume, of some sort. It's got kind of a soft surface on it so it doesn't take fingerprints like some of the shinier ones do. You open it up, and inside it comes with the plastic baggie is mine here. But it comes with a USB charging cable, USB-C to USB-B, but of course if you have C to C, use that of course, and a small headphone cord. And you notice it's not all that long, which is actually perfect for travel because if you put a bigger headphone cord in there, it'll take up a lot more space in your case. Now, I specifically wanted a set of headphones, and these check all the check boxes for me. I wanted headphones that could specifically be plugged in by cable in case there were issues with the Bluetooth or the battery's dead or something like that. So you can listen to these if the battery's dead. Of course, without noise canceling if the battery's dead. Here they are. They fold right down. And these are very comfortable to wear. I will point out a couple of things. On the inside, you can see this, see that R there where it says right and left. You've got the sides marked on the inside, which makes them easy to see when you put them on. They're very comfortable for wearing for long periods of time. I can listen for 2.5 hours or so, which is about the longest I've tried, and still be comfortable and not fatiguing to listen to either. So where to start? So they have a nice finish on them again. Unlike some of their previous lower models, these don't have the totally shiny surface that takes fingerprints. They've got a matte sort of surface, kind of have a soft feel to it. So that's nice. The cushions are very nice and comfortable. The headband is metal. This part across the top here, but these other parts are plastic. As far as fit goes, they seem to work really well. I use them all the way down. I don't think I have a particularly small head. They actually fit okay on everybody who I've asked to try them out. But there could be potentially an issue if you were someone with say a small woman with a small head, perhaps. These are definitely made for comfort and not for sport. So, though I was using them working out in the yard and doing some stuff in the yard, and they do pretty good. But if you bend over a lot and throw your head forward, which is what I was doing for yard work, then they have a tendency to slip down. And though they never came off, I had to adjust them several times. So that's not a big mark in my consideration because I was doing yard work and bending down and raking leaves and picking stuff up and things. So, if you're not bending over all the time and that, they work great. So they are noise canceling, and they have an excellent noise canceling capability. The noise cancellation works in covers 3 stages: the bass, mid-range, and treble. And I have found it every place I've tried these to be extremely effective. Um, they even do really a pretty good job on impulses, which is what they're going to be worst at. But for things like road noise in a car, boy, they cut it in our car. Our car is pretty noisy for road noise when we're driving, and they cut it down to almost nothing. All you hear is just this little slight changes in the engine speed, and all the road noise from the tires and everything is cut completely out. Where I meditate at, I have some fans and things going in the background, and I turn these on and it goes to complete silence. So I wanted noise canceling headphones. I didn't buy them strictly for that. I bought them on a lot of their other qualities too. Uh, but the noise cancellation works really, really well. And I don't know, on the box it claims that up to 98% noise reduction. And I tend to believe that on the depending on the type of noise you've got, because when I'm using these and I want the fans and stuff to be completely quiet, they just disappear. And things will disappear so well that I can't hear anything except for you can faintly detect the slightest white noise type of hiss when the noise canceling is on, and it's canceled all my fans and everything. But it's a very interesting sensation when you turn it on. It feels like the whole room just gets sucked away. It's like, whew, like this cone of silence just encircles you. So really impressed. They work pretty well in a restaurant. They don't work as well on intermittent random sounds that might come through, like you might get a single dog yip or something through, or a loud voice or something might come through for a moment. But mostly anything that's like a continuous sound, like a continuous background murmur or anything, just like goes away. So I've been really impressed, and I was really impressed by the way they cancel out all the bass from the road noise in the car, all that bass, and I can still feel the rumble and stuff of the road, but it goes away. So that works really well. And if you're gonna use them with a cord, it's really easy enough to get a decent cord. This is a Sennheiser cord from an old pair of Sennheiser headphones I had that had an unpluggable cord, and it's just fine if I want more length. But you know what? On these, the Bluetooth and stuff is so good, I have no desire to use it plugged in. Now, I can hear a slight amount of difference in the sound quality running off the cable compared to running it off Bluetooth. Um, and I hear the difference in the mid-range, but frankly, the difference is so tiny, and the Bluetooth sounds so good that I haven't concerned myself with that at all. I'm perfectly happy listening to it on the Bluetooth. And that's the point. So there are several Bluetooth algorithms, and I'll bring them up on the screen here. Now, these will work with several algorithms, and we'll talk about those here. I'm going to bring them up so I can look at them, and then I'll bring up a oh, I guess it might work better if I connect them. So the power switch, they've done a good job on the buttons. Power switch on these is right under here, and it has a little tiny light. We turn the power switch on for a minute. Hold it down for 2 seconds so I didn't accidentally hit it. It has a little LED there. And it'll turn blue, and then you can connect to it. Okay. And when it's connected to it on, I have a Linux system here. And on my Linux system, I have several profiles available. And the profiles these will work with, they'll work with SBC, AAC, and they'll work with, oh, what the heck is it called? It's not up because I'm not using it right now, so I can't quite see it. It's got a high resolution mode that Sony came out with. Is it Ldac? Let me look at it and see. I think it is. Now, let me figure out how to get to it here. Yes. So under sound mode, you can choose to combine audio and connection quality or preferred audio quality for Ldac. So let's start with this. Ldac will increase power consumption. And the note says you may occasionally experience connection instability in some environments. So I did not find that to be any more of a problem with Ldac than I did with any of the other codecs. Ldac worked pretty well. But on this one, you've got what they call high fidelity playback, codec SBC, but it'll also do high fidelity playback, codec sbc-xq. And that one's probably the best for sound quality. That one uses the highest amount of information transferred. But the SBC codecs have what I find an annoying issue of any connection issues or anything like that create a non-musical sound, sort of like a synthesizer gone mad. You get these weird audio sounds, like musical tones, and they're kind of disrupting in the music. But if you use Ldac or the AAC codec, which is the one that Apple uses, AAC, then you don't have that. If you lose a signal, you just get a dropout. And I find it less annoying. So I'm a little older and I cannot hear all the differences between the codecs. Honestly, I have some high frequency hearing loss, and perhaps that's the reason. But between the sbc-xq codec, which I can look at and see that transfers a lot more information, and the AAC codec, which transfers less information, I prefer the AAC because I cannot honestly hear the difference in sound quality on these phones. And it doesn't do the weird thing. Now, Ldac works great, and that's a really high res, up to 96 kilohertz, 24-bit, I believe, over Bluetooth. And I didn't have a problem with that. That codec seems to work really well. Its distance doesn't seem to be any shorter than any of the other codecs. When it drops out, it doesn't make an unmusical sound. It just makes a slight dropout. The range to me seems to be about the same. I get probably, when I'm outside with my laptop in the bedroom, I get probably like 30, 40 feet outside, but I'm not in a busy Bluetooth area. We're kind of the outskirts of town. And the only reason I don't use that all the time is because with that up, you can only connect with one device at a time. And that brings up another excellent feature of these, that they can connect to two devices simultaneously. So what that amounts to in practice is I can be listening to music off the drive on my computer, and I can control the headphones and the noise cancellation, everything from the app on the phone. Now there's the buttons are set up really well on the phone. They're easy to learn where they're at, and you can learn instinctively and just get it. you've got your power button, the bottom of the left. You've got your noise canceling button here. That's easy enough. Just reach up with your thumb, and that cycles through transparency mode, normal mode, and automatic noise canceling mode. Transparency mode works very well. That's since these are closed back, you can't hear through them like you would open back headphones. So transparency mode compensates for that, and you put them in transparency mode and you can hear through them, not as well as if you were not wearing them. But what it does, it lets through the voice frequencies and the treble so you can hear people voice and things through. It still seems to damp out most of the bass, so rumble, noise, road noise, rumble, and stuff like that generally won't get through, but you can hear the voices in transparency mode. So I was pretty happy with that. I'll show everybody on the app in a bit. Transparency mode has 5 settings, excuse me. And same for the noise cancellation. You can set the exact level you want. And I'll show you the rest of the buttons, then we'll go to the app, and I'll show you that later. It's an excellent app. I rated it 5 stars on the little survey. You've got your USB-C charging port on this side. So on the other side on your head, you've got a pause continue button to pause and continue your music. And I found this works really well on my Linux machine. It doesn't matter. My normal media player works perfect with it. Pauses the media player. Up here you've got your volume up and volume down button. Volume up on the top, volume down on the bottom, and then skip forward on the top and skip forward on the bottom. So a push gives you volume up, volume up, volume up. If you hold it for 2 seconds, then it skips to the next song. Same, the bottom part works the same way. Hold it for 2 seconds and it skips back to the previous song. Otherwise, it controls volume up and the volume down. I found all these to work really well in practice. So in most occasions, you don't need to use the app if you don't need to set, but there are some really nice features on the app. So I'll talk about the sound quality a little bit, and then we'll get to the app. So like I mentioned already, I could hear a little bit of difference with the cable end as compared to running it through Bluetooth, and it sounded like it was in the mid-range, but honestly, it would take me a lot of listening to decide whether it sounded better with the cable or worse. My suspicion is it'll probably sound a little bit better just because you're not running through a Bluetooth codec, and all the codecs are mostly kind of lossy except for the Ldac. But it sounds so good. Like I say, it's such a minor difference, I didn't bother investigating any further. And I compared these directly to a couple of old sets of Sennheisers I have. Now I have to admit, the Sennheisers are old and I don't know if their sound quality is diminished. I've got a Sennheiser HD 497 and an HD 4... an HD 465, which is a bigger set and uses bigger drivers. The 497 is a little light on bass, but it sounds very neutral, but definitely light on bass. And the 465 Sennheisers have better bass. And I'll tell you what, these things on Bluetooth just trounced all over them in all realms. The bass is better quality, not just more. It sounds very nice. And it almost makes the Sennheisers sound broken in comparison. Like I say, they're very old, and I am old enough to have lost the high frequencies of my hearing. But other than that, these totally trounce the Sennheisers as far as I can tell. By comparison, the Sennheisers make the music sound kind of, these are not high-end, these were never high-end Sennheisers to start with, mind you. I think they were about 70 or 80 bucks originally for the one pair and about 40 or 50 for the other, something like that originally. These trounce all over them. The bass is superior, the mid-range sounds better, the treble sounds better, cleaner, clearer, more distinct, and the Sennheisers, by comparison, sound like there's grit or dirt in the music. If you'll, like some distortion of some sort. So these are nice and clean and transparent. I didn't have any better ones to compare them with, so I don't know how they compare to a more expensive headphone. I should point out two things. These at the time I looked were going for a retail price of $149. I got these as a set of refurbs off from the Anchor store on Amazon, Soundcore, so right from their store. And though they were refurbished, I couldn't tell. They came in retail packaging. Everything looked brand new. These look brand new. They work like brand new. As far as I could tell, they were brand new, except that I didn't pay that much money for them. So I'm totally happy with them. One of my major concerns was sound quality, and even with my, not so great hearing at this age, these easily just trounced the other wired headphones, just totally. So I'm really pleased about that. And I was really pleased about how well the noise canceling works and the app. And I'll point out on the app, there are also some sound modes. There's a built-in graphic equalizer that you can set for a custom mode. And the mode I really liked is there's one that actually will check your hearing and then adjust it to fixed frequencies you have trouble hearing and things like that. Anyway, it comes up with something called Hear ID. And for me, it worked really well, but you have to take your time and listen. It starts with the high frequencies, which are the most common ones that people can't hear. And then they gradually go down in volume and they go down in frequency, and it checks your hearing and it makes a custom curve for you. And after trying that compared to the flat curve on it, I decided I like the sound of it. It does seem, for me, it seemed to replace frequencies I was missing from hearing. And so I've been really pleased with it. So I find the sound quality of these to be excellent and not fatiguing, and nothing is bright. I didn't have a bit of like that brightness or harshness, especially in that really sensitive 1 to 2 kilohertz region that just like makes your ears bleed if they get it wrong. So I find these entirely pleasant to listen to. They're better than my speaker system as far as sound quality goes. And I've got it adjusted pretty flat. But listening to these and then listening to mine pointed out a little area of sharpness in my sound system that I had became aware of. It turned out to be a reflection off a big plate glass window. So yay. So like I say, these are 100%. I'll get the camera set up and we'll take a look at the app here, and yeah, I give these my highest recommendation with the caveat about if you maybe if you have a small head and the short cord, if you're going to use them wired, you want to buy a longer one, but I've decided the short cord is perfect to fit in the case, and anybody who's using these is likely to be using them on the Bluetooth and not on the cable. And if they are, they're likely to be right in front of your computer. And so I think it's just the right thing for a travel pair. Okay, so I suppose this isn't the best way to do an app like this, but right now it's the best way I've got to do it. So In addition to using the buttons on the phones, you can select the noise cancellation here on the app and put them into noise cancellation mode. You've got adaptive noise canceling, which is what it's in now. You can also choose custom noise canceling. I use the adaptive, but custom noise canceling lets you set several different levels up to max. I leave it as default. I'm using the adaptive since I find that works really well. Okay. So transparency mode, same kind of thing. You go over here to the custom. You can set your transparency mode. You can set it to talk mode, where the music volume is lowered to enhance voices. Music volume can't be adjusted in that mode, in talk mode. So you can set either of those as your transparency modes. Okay, and of course I listen to them under. I find normal works really well for listening to music, and I did check very carefully, and I can hear no difference in the sound of the music with noise cancellation on versus noise cancellation off, except that the noise cancellation is on and the noise goes away. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't affect the volume at all. You notice the app has a little battery indicator here. But I have been using these for ever since I got them, which actually hasn't been that long ago. I got them last Sunday. They were a birthday present for my wonderful wife. And the battery's only gone down a fraction, and I've been using the heck out of them. They advertise a 50-hour life with battery life with noise cancellation on, and I believe it. I think it's supposed to be 60 with it off. And as far as I can tell, they get every bit of the battery life. It's been very impressive for that aspect. It's got a safe volume where you can set a safe volume setting. And it's not showing anything because I'm not playing anything through it. It'll show you where your volume level is at when you're playing something through here. Let me see. Hang on. I should be able to just get something up real quick here. Oh, no, I can't. Sorry, I can't quite show you that one because I don't have my hard drive that has my music on it with me. But it'll show you the level that your music that you're listening at and whether you're near the safe mode or not. So I don't have a problem with that. I find I usually listen about, since I have the headphones on, I don't have other sounds to drown out. I listen usually about 75, 80 decibels if I'm getting louder controls. This just gives you a list of what the buttons do, and you can look at that. Sound effects. This is where you can go into the Hear ID sound, which I'm not going to show you again, but it has a, maybe I can get the thing up without changing it. Okay, so you can select initial curve obtained by testing, a custom Hear ID, which you can use the equalizer for, and a favorite user genre. You can select all those for the Hear ID sound. What this does, when you set this up, this is a set up for my hearing, this curve. It sets up a curve for you depending on your hearing, and it'll give you a circle and ask you to, can you hear this sound? Can you hear this sound? And you just press yes or no, and it gives you another tone, and it goes through a whole series of tones, whether you can hear them or not. And then if you can hear them, it takes them down in level till you can't. So it figures out pretty much what your hearing is. Now, I've read some reviews that people don't like that in general. I think maybe they aren't using it carefully enough. When I went through it first, I went through it fast and it set it up a little bit different. And so I went through it a second time. If you want to go through it a second time and redo it, you just hit this right here. Maybe I can start this and cancel out. Nah, I'll cancel it. But anyway, that's what you have to do to retest it. And it'll set that up for you. Then you've got your custom music settings here. I usually don't use these in particular. The Soundcore signature is a bass up that pumps up the bass, and I usually don't care for that. It works just fine. I'm just not a bass up type of person. And it's got bass reducer, acoustic, classical, podcast, dance, deep, electronic, flat, hip hop, jazz, Latin lounge, which are pop, rock, all slightly different curves, which are already set up for you. But if that isn't good enough, you can set up an EQ profile. And so you can just pick your frequency range and just bump it to where you want it. And I don't care if I change these because I'm not actually using a custom profile. I'm using the Here ID one because I found out it works well for me. But this was one I was setting up. I've got one I was setting up here already for thin music. And that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's not accurate either. I just wanted to basically boost up the bass some on thin music. I never finished setting that up, but that's how you do it. You just adjust it to what you want it to sound like. And you can hear all that while you're working on it, especially if you've got one of the modes other than Ldac up, you can be using it on your phone like this and adjust all your music settings because they do not have an app set up to run on a computer, and I could not get this app. I tried it on an emulator on my computer, and I couldn't make the emulator work with it, but I found the app to be outstanding. Like I say, I give it 5 stars, and it works really nicely. If I'm listening to music on the computer and somebody calls me on the phone, it pops up on the phone and says answer or decline. If I answer it, it automatically uses the microphone in the headphones, and the you hear the call through the headphones, of course. The microphone has a nice thing. It's an adaptive, it's an AI microphone that works on filtering out external noise, and it seems to work pretty well also in keeping external noises around you from coming through the microphone, and they sound pretty good. So I was pretty happy with the way that works. I saw a review where somebody compared it to, I think, about a $300 set of Sony headphones, and they liked the call microphones a little bit better, but the review I was watching, that was the only place in which the Sonys won out over these. I don't remember the model, but I found the phone thing to work really well. You've got a couple things. You've got this here. And that takes you to some various things in the app. This is where it says warranty. If you click on that, will send you set you right up to make a warranty claim, which hopefully I'll never have to do. These are working great. I've got the user's guide, quick start guide, user manual, facts. If you want to question about the sound or something, you can hit that and get your questions and then the answers to them. What should I do if sound quality is poor in wired mode? That kind of thing. So that all works really well. You've got a phone. Go to the phone there. Okay, and if you list the phone, now it's got all the names for the Anchor Corporation or the Anchor Company. Anyway, there's the U.S. California 1-800 number to call them Monday through Friday, 9 through 5 p.m. So the app has all that kind of helpful information. And then over here on the settings here, pardon me, it gives you the firmware version. Over here in those settings are where you set the sound mode. If you're going to set Ldac, and that's the high-res Bluetooth, the Ldac. Um, and I'll tell you, the Ldac definitely makes the battery on the phone run down faster. Um, and also, this app makes the phone run down faster. So if you're listening to music on the computer like I do, I may leave the app up, especially if I've got the phone plugged in. But if you don't have the phone plugged in, you want to conserve the battery, I'd recommend load the app up and set your settings on your phones and then close the app on your phone, except unless you're expecting to take phone calls, then leave the app running in the background and then it'll automatically answer your phone calls, and that works great. I found all these modes and everything to work flawlessly in my experience. Device list, okay, in case you have various things. So we've got, this shows a dual device connection. I've got two things connected. This one is the phone. This B131DL is the phone. And this is my computer here. It says Ian's. So lots of good information in the app. It's got wind noise reduction is grayed out. I'm not sure why. I assume that's a feature of the app, but that these phones do not have the wind noise reduction. Oops, I already looked at that. Sorry. And the prompt tone for the ambient sound switch and battery alert. And it does have a voice assistant. So when you turn it on, the headphones will say battery hot. You know, when you switch modes, it'll tell you if you switch to transparency mode or switch noise cancellation mode, go to custom noise cancellation or the adaptive noise cancellation or something like that. It'll tell you right in your ear. There's a little voice that happens. So I think that's mostly everything to say about them. I've had 100% good results. Like I say, they check marked all of my boxes, so I'm pretty much 100% happy for them, especially for the price of the refurb price and the fact that they seem to be, as far as I can tell, in as good as new condition. So very happy. I really enjoy these. Thank you for watching my video. Blessed be.